Hey everybody, what's going on today? We're talking about Lake Camanche, South Shore, everything you need to know. And Lake Camanche definitely has a soft spot for us. It's one of those lakes where it almost feels like home. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the pricing. And it's basically unbeatable in Amador County if you're going to be doing any camping or fishing. And their fishery is amazing. They do have their own trout farm up there, and they grow their own fish. And they put a lot of plants in that lake. Very heavily, and they even have a trout pond at South Shore, and they have a catfish pond at South Shore. And I know that they heavily plant the trout pond, and it has extremely easy access. So if you guys wanted to fish here, bring a family, it wouldn't be an incredibly far walk to get to where you want to be to fish. And it's not a huge pond. It is, I mean, I guess it could be potentially considered a large pond. And I believe there's a pipe in there, so over time these fish do have an opportunity to get to the main lake at South Shore. But a lot of people do really good here. Try to get out a little bit further here because I know that there's a lot of vegetation. I personally have fished the pond a couple times, haven't had great success, but I know that there's a lot of people who do. And like with many lakes, once you know where to be and what to use for that area, you know, you're obviously going to start to have a lot more success. So the catfish pond is stocked, I believe. I know at one point they used to do it, pretty sure. And you can always call ahead of time. So if you were planning on going and you wanted to know if they had recently put a bunch of fish in there, whether it be trout or catfish, you can always call the front gate and they're more than willing to give you that sort of information. Or if you recently visited or plan on visiting, you can always check the boards outside the front gate and they can give you that kind of information. Kayaks get in here free, guys, and that's not the trout pond, but the main lake. Kayaks do get in for free. I have seen someone in the trout pond in a kayak, so I'm pretty sure they allow that too, unless that person was violating some sort of rule. So the kayak gets in free, which doesn't sound like a huge deal, but most lakes are going to charge you that, and I believe it's about $10 to $12 per day. So it's a pretty unique situation when you're going to Camanche. You're saving tons of money, and you're having access to such a amazing fishery. The pan fishing is really good here, and the trout fishing is amazing, and the bass fishing is phenomenal at times. That's going to be when you know the place to be. Obviously, you got to spend time fishing this lake, and there's plenty of videos about it. I haven't spent an incredibly large amount of time at this lake, but the bass fishing is phenomenal. If you go back into the records, I would say a 12-pounder is coming out largemouth every single year, if not bigger. And people pull big fish out of here. And between the plants and just the big fish that are already in there, it's definitely a place that you're going to want to spend a lot of time. And it's probably one of the better fisheries in Amador County. So with pricing and reasonable launch fees, if you have a kayak or a float tube, it makes it a pretty great deal. Just keep in mind also at South Shore Lake Camanche that in front of the marina where the boats launch, there's going to be trees to the right, which can be a really good place to bass fish, but the water has to be at the right level. And in recent years, it has been drought conditions, so it hasn't been a great place. But when the water's fuller, it's definitely going to be a place you're going to want to try to go for some good bass fishing. And to the cove to the left of that, so you'd be coming out back towards the marina if you were to be looking straight from the marina out. On the left-hand side there's a bunch of coves over there, and those have a lot of tree structure. And if the water's full, you really won't be able to see them, but they're there, I assure you. And that is an incredibly good bass spot for fishing. And just keep that in mind, that there's a lot of structure and habitat down there for them. So just, you know, once you guys learn how to fish this lake, I guarantee you're going to love it, and you're going to be on some good fishing. So I got some more information here, and let's go to it. So another great thing with pricing here is camping is only $10.50 a night in the off season, and in the regular season it's a little bit more pricey at about, I think, $29 upwards to $30. But you're definitely going to want to take advantage of some of this off season $10.50 a night camping. And their campgrounds are relatively clean. Other than the bottle caps, people tend to leave a ton of those, and it doesn't seem like the grounds workers there have an opportunity to get every single one of those. So camping there is actually pretty amazing, and you have access to a lot of shoreline to hook into some good fishing. So another thing is the hosts that work there, the groundskeeper, the gate attendants there, are extremely friendly, and I have nothing but good stories I actually punctured a hole in my kayak, and somebody afar saw that I was having a little bit of trouble, and he brought me an entire tube of Flex Seal, and I was able to fix my boat, and he didn't even want the rest of it back. So it basically saved the trip and saved me about 20 bucks to buy a tube of that. So if you want to do some swimming here, it's also a great place. Just remember to watch out for sharp objects on the beach, shoreline. And when the low water level conditions are in there, just be a little bit extra careful, because there is a lot of shale and jagged objects and chairs. And I know I kind of just mentioned that before, but it's actually a pretty big deal. People throw a lot of things in here. They don't necessarily take the best care of the lake, the people who visit it. But I do my best to clean up stuff when I see it. But back to the fishing end of it. So if the South Shore is extremely low, you're probably going to want to go to North Shore, because North Shore is a lot deeper. There's just easier access to deeper waters. And if you're at the South Shore and you don't have a boat, you know, a lot of those spots that would normally be really good if the lake was full, they're not going to be so great anymore, just because obviously most of these fish aren't going to want to be hanging out in the shallows in the winter times. So you're definitely going to want to try to gauge that when you're making your decision of when you want to come visit, even if it's just for day use. But South Shore is amazing. They got free showers, they got bathrooms, and they even have an RV park. So if you have an RV and you want to kill a couple weeks and you're just trying to leave that somewhere, maybe you could come up on the weekends after work. It's a great place to spend time. The staff is extremely friendly. They got a marina. But another thing about the marina, while I'm telling you guys stuff here, is that just watch out, because their prices are pretty high. But if you didn't want to have to make a 30, 45-minute drive, whatever it might be, to the Buena Vista store, or if you had to go further, but they do gouge you on the prices pretty bad. I believe it's $10 for a bag of ice, so it's a bit pricey. Try to bring everything. Don't forget, make a list. But I'm pretty sure that's just about everything that you need to know about Lake Camanche South Shore. So if you haven't checked it out and you live in the Amador County area, or if you live in Sacramento or Stockton, it's definitely worth the drive. You're not going to regret it. And if you can't do that great on the main lake, hit the trout pond and see what you can pull in. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned.